box. Actually, my first time in this new press box on new field. I graduated in 2020. Ethan was 2023 grad, so this is kind of an alumni game for us, which is exciting. And now to football, I'm excited to see this Heinz North team now that they have a win under their belt and under Mike Eschball, and it's his new team, and he's got to be excited now. You can pump up kids after a win, they can come out and they've got some momentum, and you can really see it, especially with Dekalb being they're a beatable team, and Huntington North can definitely come in and they can win this game. So they just got to come in, play some good football, play fundamentals, and we could see a Huntington North win.
And was it the prettiest win? Of course not, but it's still a win. A W is a W. So, like you said, Huntington comes in with some momentum, home crowd, just real good environment, good weather, good football weather.
Right, and looking around, it is packed here right now. It's very full. I haven't seen it this full in a while, and the homecoming adds to it. Plus, the players got to be excited. All week you're doing all these extra activities in school, and Friday's generally Spirit Week, or Spirit Day, so everyone's wearing their Viking gear. Kids here are in the pit, and they're excited. They're yelling, cheering, and Dekalb's running out right now, actually. And it's just going to be real exciting.
And it's really a new-look Huntington North team. They are running a completely different offense from last year. They're running completely different defense from last year. They've got some new guys in new positions. Some guys are out injured, of course. That's going to happen over the season. But altogether, there's optimism around this football program for the first time in a long time, really.
For sure, and with that new offense, and from everything I've seen, it's a new spread offense that they're doing, and Ian Wiley's doing it right under center, and so far he's got 720 yards with 6 touchdowns. Now, to go against that, he has 6 interceptions, but with that 720 yards, he's averaging over 120, 140 yards a game, so he's really throwing the ball, and he's slinging it out there. From everything I've heard, he's got an arm.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting to watch this season to see how he's adjusting more of a pass-friendly offense, considering under Coach Prescott and his administration, they were more of a power-run team.
For sure. Yes, it's real exciting, and his favorite target, it seems, is Asher Chipchowski, who's got 225 receiving yards, and then Noah Wagner is the main running back for us, as we've got 137 yards and 139 receiving yards. So Noah Wagner's a huge guy on this offense alongside with Chipchowski. So I'm excited to see those two. Unfortunately, from everything I've heard, Luke Toish is out, who was a key player on the Heinz North team with 112 rushing yards and 132 receiving yards.
And, of course, injuries were a big problem last year. They continue to be a big problem this year. But the Vikings have battled through. I hear there are some players possibly coming back to play this week, so that's a big boost for the Vikings. But enough small talk, because they're about to enter the field.
You can hear the horn. It is getting crazy in here. You want to describe what's going on with this new boat that they started this year?
So basically this year they have a big inflatable boat. It's kind of like a tunnel. They're just going to run out of it, gets the students involved, gets the crowd pretty hyped up, and all together, just a cool new thing that Coach Eschbach has brought to the program.
Oh, for sure. And I don't know about you. When I played football, as I played the first 2 years, I didn't get this nice of a field unless it was an away game, and that wasn't as exciting. And this is really cool now, as the entire pit is running with the football players. They put the entire student section right behind the football players. They ran out with them. That's exciting. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, that's something definitely unique this year.
I do find it funny as 3 quarters all ran, and then you have a small number that decided they're going to walk. They're not going to run, so they're just casually walking behind the players now and kind of getting in their way.
I don't blame them.
Some of the high schoolers didn't feel like running today, which I get it.
The last time these two teams met was at Dekalb. Dekalb won the meeting 56-48 in a big shootout. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same exact production from both offenses tonight.
I'm expecting a high score. Over under. What's your guess? 35 points, over or under?
35 points, we're going over. A combined, I bet we have that over by the second quarter.
Wow. Okay, I was gonna say total we're getting maybe 45, 50 points total. You're going like, what's your total? What's your total points then?
I'll say they're about a touchdown difference, so I'm thinking like a 48-42 ball game.
48, 40. You're saying we're gonna have a total
We're
of
gonna
90 point total.
Yeah.
We will see. I hope you're right, as that'll be fun to call, especially.
Yeah.
But as a guy who played defense, that makes me very sad.
Yeah,
if
that's
I
the
see a
defense's
90
worst
point game.
nightmare. Well, as you mentioned, though, we are technically not supposed to be here. We are two alumni, so this has been a fun experience coming back, getting to see some new people, see new faces, and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. It's definitely been interesting because, like you said, you haven't been here since I was a sophomore in high school, and I just graduated this year. So this will definitely be, hopefully, a fun one to call, and I'm expecting a good ball game in between these two teams.
I'm looking forward to it. And it looks like Dekalb won the toss, and they have elected to receive. So Huntington North's going to start by kicking it off, and that'll get going real soon as both all the captains are coming back to the team. They're getting excited, getting up and going. We're going to have special teams coming up.
And really, the defense for Huntington North hasn't been that bad this year. They've been really stout. With exception to the East Noble game, they've held their opponents in check. It's a real question of, can this offense for Huntington North perform at a level that they have through most games? It really just depends on what Huntington North team shows up tonight.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's where I think coming off a win, it could be real exciting is once you have that win, once you get a hunger for more once you have the first one. And now they know how it feels to walk out a winner of a game, and they're going to want to feel that again. I mean, why wouldn't you? So I think you're going to get a little bit more. They're going to get into it a little bit more than you've seen the last couple of weeks, and it'll be a real fun one.
Yeah, and they've been close in some games. Eastbrook, Jay County, they've been just a play or two away from really being, well, better than 1-4 right now. But regardless, all that goes out the window once this ball is kicked off.
Oh, for sure. And the ball is now teed up, and we're getting ready to go as Huntington North's kicker is Jason Toish, who's coming out. And referee's coming to the sideline. Dekalb's ready to go. They've got two guys set up to return. And Jason is getting ready to go. And we hear the whistle, and the ball is up. And it looks like he's doing a real short kick, and it's out of bounds right at the 30. So the ball should be going to the 35-yard line.
And Toish looks like he's doing a little pooch kick right there, and it seems like that strategy, it's a bold strategy, and it didn't really pay off that time.
For sure. And we're going to see Huntington North come out and do this defense. And for Dekalb, I'm looking, they have two quarterbacks that they played. They played with Lytle and Weber. We have Lytle, who's a senior, and that's who I'm expecting to see tonight. And it looks like he is the guy who's under center right now, and he's going to head this offense. He is a big boy, 6'2", 210. And now he's ready to go. He's got one on the right, two on the left. Slot. The slot is at the hash, and the left receiver is at the numbers, and the ball is snapped. A quick throw to the right side, and a 3-yard gain for Dekalb as the catch was by Caden Pettis, and he had an immediate out of bounds.
And it looks like the Vikings are playing a soft zone kind of to protect against those quick throws. Dekalb's just trying to settle in here, so not surprised that they come out with a quick pass early.
And Lytle's ready to go. Same setup as last time. He's got one halfback with him, and he hands it off, or fake handoff. Lytle's going to run up right up the center, and he gets another 6 yards, so it's now going to be 3rd and 1.
So Dekalb goes read option there, ends bite on the handoff to the halfback, and Lytle picks up 6. Good design play call there by Dekalb.
Lytle ready to go. Same formation, 2 on the left, 1 on the right. And he snaps the ball, looks to the right, fakes it to Pettis, and then throws it after running outside. So that is a 4th and 2 now.
And I like the play call by Dekalb, try to catch the Vikings off guard. That was just a really good defensive contain to keep Lytle away from making a big play. And ultimately just forcing him to throw it away.
It looks like Lytle's going to stay in there in the shotgun formation right now. He's going to go for it on fourth down, takes the snap, hands it off, and he runs right up the center, and that is Hinkle, who gets about 6 yards and picks up the first down. He's right at the 49 on Huntington North side.
And don't be surprised if we call Hinkle's name a lot today. They like to run the ball. This is a good mixed offense. Really interesting to see how the Vikings respond to a mixed attack like Dekalb's.
And he started he came into this game with 357 rush yards, so he's definitely receives the ball quite a bit. And Lytle's taken the play from Seth Wilcox, head coach. Lytle has one guy on the right. He has a tight end now and takes it and throws it to Pettis, and it is overthrown.
And right there, it looked like protection was clean. The Vikings just had good coverage, and Lytle just overthrew his man. Vikings look like they're playing a cover 2, maybe cover 3, but interesting to see how they come out. They have a 4-man front, so interesting to see if they can get pressure on Lytle as the game goes on.
And we have Lytle's 2 on left, 1 on the right, takes the snap, hands it off up the center, and gets Hinkle going, and Hinkle's just getting pushed and pushed and pushed. He was first touched about 5 yards in, and he got pushed another 5, and that looks like it's going to be a first down.
And that's why Hinkle has 357 rush yards on the season. He just keeps his legs churning, and he'll get another Dekalb first down. And the Vikings really just got pushed around on that play.
Oh, for sure. And now Lytle's taking the play again from Seth Wilcox. It looks like they're doing a no huddle, and Seth's just calling it out, and the whole team's watching him, and then Lytle makes a quick call. Lytle takes the snap, and Lytle's going to run right up the center, and he gets through, gets about an 8-yard gain as he runs right up the center. He's on the right hash.
And it seems like they're only sticking to about 3 plays, an inside run, a read option, and a quick pass. And so far, that's worked. And it's interesting to see, like you mentioned with the no huddle, how that tempo is going to play out the rest of the game.
2nd and 2, 2 minutes into this game. No score yet as Lytle's moved the ball about 60 yards so far. Takes the snap, and Lytle fakes it, gives it to Hinkle, and Hinkle gets about 8 yards there, and he gets dropped down at the 20.
And it seems like it's pretty obvious with the game plan. Just feed it to your running back until they can stop him. And honestly, who can blame him? Because that's just, that seems like a pretty effective game plan so far.
And yeah, it's working. Lytle then's coming up. So he's got 2 guys on the left. He actually has not looked left this entire game so far. And so Lytle's shotgun formation, 2 on the right, 2 on the left now. Takes a snap. Lytle runs to the right, and QB run, and he gets about 9-10 yards, and that'd be 19 yards, and he's going to be brought down at the 2-yard line.
And so now we see what the Vikings goal line defense can do. That was a really good QB run there by Lytle, able to put his team in the first scoring position of the game.
1st and goal. Lytle takes the snap, hands it off up the center to Hinkle, and Hinkle runs in, and that's a touchdown.
Simple halfback dive play there. Hinkle just able to go 2 yards, and the Barons on the board first here. Good sustained drive by Lytle and that offense.
And it looks like they're going to have their kicking team come out. And how have the kicking been so far this year with the high school athletics?
Kicking in high school is always a little hard to determine how it's going to go, really. It's a night-to-night basis. But the Vikings have blocked a couple field goals on the year. So.
We have Carter Newman coming up to kick it, and snap is up, and the kick is good. It looked like it was dead center.
Yeah.
All right, so on that first drive, we had a 65-yard drive for 7 points on a touchdown for DeKalb.
And really, that was just a time management drive, really well sustained. There was a no huddle game plan going in, I'm gonna guess, and that first drive couldn't have gone any better for the Barons. Let's see if the Vikings can respond with a touchdown of their own.
And we're getting ready to go as Huntington's coming out to have the receiving team, and it looks like out to receive for Huntington North is James Linker. Seems to be that he's been one of the main receivers this year.
He's been pretty good. He's had a good year on kickoff return and receiving. one of those young sophomores that you really look forward to seeing how he's going to progress over the next coming years.
Yeah, it seems he gets the ball quite a bit, as he has 84 receiving yards also. And Dekalb's taking their time. They're actually huddling up. You don't see that too often, but it gives each team a chance to, the kicker to give a play if there's going to be an onside or a squib or anything else, and really hype up your team a little bit.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not the most common, but each team has a different kickoff formation. So we'll see what the Barons do here. Possibly, maybe an onside kick, but I could see him kicking it deep here.
It looks like Brody Wilson's kicking for the Barons, and it is up, and it is a squib kick on the left side, and Heights-North gets it, and they're traveling. They got some open room, and we got it all the way to the 49 on Huntington North side, so that was a kick return of about 24 yards, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, and really, that was a really good return considering it was a squib kick. That was a roller, so the Vikings make something out of basically nothing, and now they start their offense in great field position.
And 9:03 in the first quarter as Heights-North is going to have Wiley take over, and he is in shotgun formation, 1 on his left, 2 on his right, and he's now got he's got a tight end on his right also with a halfback right next to him. Takes the snap, hands it off, and they go right up the center, and they get nowhere. That would be a gain of maybe 1 yard. So it's going to be 2nd and 9.
And it seems like Luke Toish is back in the backfield after missing a couple games with an injury.
Yeah, that's exciting to see. It's really always good to see guys back. And Luke Toish is one where he has been an asset for this team, as he has 112 rushing yards, 132 receiving yards. And big kid, senior, 5'10", and 155 pounds. So he's tall, but not necessarily as wide or as strong as he needs to be. Takes the snap, and Heights-North pitches it to the left and runs it about 4 yards. They're going to spot it only at a 2-yard gain, so that's, or 3-yard gain, excuse me. So that's going to be 3rd and 6. Yeah.
And it seems like the Vikings are trying to establish a run game early. Don't be surprised here if they go play action and try to take a shot from this field position. But you got to think this is 4-down territory here for the Vikings.
Huntington North now has Ian Wiley as the lone guy in the backfield. 2 on his left, 2 on his right. So he's got twins. Takes the snap. He's looking to his right. Throws it up, and it is caught by Huntington North. And we get a gain of about 12 yards.
And really, that was a risky throw there by Wiley. I wasn't sure who was going to come down with that, but Cameron Moore makes the reception and moved the chains for the Vikings. And now you are in 4-down territory as an offense.
And Huntington North, 1st and 10, 7:39 in the first. Huntington North down by 7 as Ian Wiley's taking this play. It's twins again, takes the snap, and he looks out, and we got a flag.
There's a penalty flag on this play.
And as we wait to see what it was, I didn't spot anything unless there was an encroachment.
Looks like there's going to be an encroachment call here on the Barons. So that little hard count of Wiley's is able to draw him 5 yards closer to the sticks, and pretty good drive here by the Vikings to open up.
And Heights North again has a spread offense, so they've got 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Tight end also sitting on the right side, and Ian Wiley's alone in the backfield as he's getting ready to take a snap. And tight end motions over to the left side. And he's having a slot receiver motion, and it's a fake handoff. Ian takes a snap, runs to the right, and goes nowhere. That'd be a loss of 7.
And really, that play was blown up from the beginning. The Dekalb edge is not fooled by that fake motion, and Wiley wasn't going anywhere. So now the Vikings in 2nd and long.
All right, with that 7-yard loss, we're going to have the same setup again, but the tight end is going to start on the left side. Heights North has one lone guy, Ian Wiley's alone in the backfield, getting ready to take snap, and he takes it. He's looking right, tosses it up, and he was mauled on that incomplete pass, and no flags were thrown.
And it looked like there was a little contact downfield, no flag, and now the Vikings set up in 3rd and 17, but Wagner running a little seam route there. Good ball by Wiley, just a little bit out in front.
Yeah, Wagner's one that he has been a major target for Wiley, so I expect to see him get the ball thrown his way again. And Wiley's now has one man back with him as he's getting ready to take the snap. 3 on his right, 1 on his left, lone receiver. And he takes the snap. And Wiley's looking left, throws it to the left side, and he didn't go anywhere. It looks like he overthrew his tight end, and that's a incomplete pass.
And Wiley got whacked on that throw. Really just lucky to get that off. Still a pretty decent ball. Lucky that fell harmlessly to the turf. But now Huntington has a decision here. Do they go for it 4th and 17, sort of in their own territory, or do they just basically punt and live another day?
They're in a bad spot being in the 36. It's hard to punt there, and it looks like they're going to keep it as 4th and 12. Wiley's getting ready to take snap. 3 on his left. Takes snap, looks left, throws it up, and overthrows his receiver. That was intended for Tony Decker, and it will be a turnover on downs.
And I don't mind the play call there. You're deep enough in that territory that basically a punt could have done the same thing, but that's really deflating for a Viking offense. Still the first drive of the game. They'll get it figured out, but that Dekalb defense held stuck.
And on that first drive, Huntington North had 1 completed pass for 13 yards and 3 on 4 attempts, and then 3 rushing attempts for -3 yards. So it was a struggle there, but, we'll have to show. And with that rushing attempt, one of them does include the sack. So Dekalb takes the snap and goes right up the center and gets about 4 yards. So that's going to be, a 5-yard gain. So 2nd and 5.
And really, it just seems like the game plan today is stick to the run until you're forced to pass. And I don't blame them, honestly. If you can run the ball like Dekalb's been running it so far, especially on that first drive, why not stick to it?
And they take the snap, look to the left, and it is caught by Bell. And Bell runs up to the left side and gets about a 9-yard gain. So that's going to be stopped at the 50-yard line out of bounds.
And there they go, play action screen, fools the defense completely, and Dekalb moves the chains again.
And it's going to be 6 minutes left in this first quarter. Huntington North down by 7. Dekalb ready to go with the ball. They have 2 on the quarterback's right, 1 on his left. Quarterback takes a snap, and he rolls left, and he's got an 10 run, and he gets about 3 yards and goes out of bounds. So it was a quick one right there.
Good contain there by that linebacker as Lytle was taking the edge, but Jason Toysh able to chase him down and hold him to a 3-yard gain. So now 2nd and 7 from the 37. Let's see what Dekalb draws up here.
Lytle getting ready to take snap. He's got Hinkle standing right next to him, and I almost expect it to go to him. He hands it off to Hinkle, and Hinkle runs up the center and he's broke a tackle and gets through and gets brought down right at the 38-yard line, or 37-yard line. So that will be a 13-yard gain.
And right there, Dekalb just kind of playing 3 yards in a cloud of dust football, and it turns into a 13-yard gain. Good push up there by the offensive line, moves the chains for Dekalb again.
And we have the same formation here as Lytle takes the snap, and Lytle's going to do a draw play, runs up the center, and gets brought down by Huntington North. That wasn't landed. That was number 5, Tony Decker.
And Decker has played a pivotal role from his safety spot all year. And nice tackle, nice form as he just comes up and stops Lytle short of the chains. But a 2nd and 1 approaching.
As Dekalb has already ran for 30 yards on this drive. Looks like Lytle's getting ready, takes a snap, fakes it off to Hinkle, and he's under pressure and just throws it right and throws it out of bounds, and he is safe on that.
And some people in the Viking crowd here want a flag on the block as Lytle is being chased out of the pocket. But really, pretty clean play. Lytle just throws it away, and now the Vikings have a 3rd and 1 situation to try to defend.
Yeah, with this 3rd and 1, 4:55 remaining in the first, Dekalb up 7-0. Dekalb has the ball on Huntington North side, and it looks like Lytle's getting ready. He's got 2 on his right with a tight end. Takes the snap, and Lytle's going to run himself. Goes to the left side, and he is brought down for a loss of 2. So that's going to be a 4th and 3 now.
And Decker once again comes up from a safety spot to make the hit on Lytle. And now this gives the Vikings a little bit more breathing room. I would expect this to go straight up the middle of Hinkle, considering how this drive has gone so far.
For sure. That, or you're going to get a draw play by Lytle. Lytle's getting ready, takes the snap, hands it off to Hinkle. Hinkle runs right up the center and gets to about the 29-yard line. He's brought down, so that's going to be a first down and a gain of about 6.
And Hinkle's been running the ball really effective here, but the Vikings' tackling has been all right. Hinkle's just a big boy to try to bring down.
Yeah, and their line is big. If you compare them to the Huntington North defensive line, I mean, you've got another 400 pounds on that line. Yeah. So Lytle's getting ready to take the snap. He takes it, fakes it off to Hinkle, and he's under immediate pressure. Throws it, and he grounds the ball, and not an intentional ground, just throws it out, and that's going to be an incomplete pass.
And the Vikings get really good pressure there on Lytle, and he just, that's the name of the game tonight, is trying to make that quarterback uncomfortable and have Dekalb try to run the ball. Now, so far, that hasn't been working for you, but real good pressure there by the Vikings to make Lytle uncomfortable.
Lytle's getting ready to go again. And I will note, I have only seen him look to the left side once, and he throws to the left side, and it is caught immediately, and that would be a gain of about 8. That's kind of funny. Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, you jinxed it there, buddy.
Yeah, well, it's going to happen.
It will happen. But nice little wide receiver screen there. They're trying to catch a little bit of yardage back, and it worked for about 7. So now it's going to be interesting what they come up with on 3rd down.
And Lytle takes snap, hands it off to Hinkle. Hinkle runs right up the center. He's going to get a first down and then some. That's going to be a gain of about 8.
And Hinkle has been really just pounding this Viking defensive line, and they haven't been really able to get much of a push and allow their linebackers to get in the backfield. It's really just a battle of the trenches tonight.
And so far, we have 102 rushing yards for Dekalb. Now, that's a mix of Lytle and Hinkle, but still, they're already rushing. And Lytle takes snap, and he's going to run it himself on the left side, and he gets to the 7-yard line, or the 8-yard line, so that's going to be a 2-yard gain.
And there was a linebacker in the backfield. Lytle just made him miss, and all of a sudden he was able to turn that into something.
And Lytle is getting ready to go. So this game is going quick so far with both teams kind of commit to the run so far. Lytle takes snap to his right and hands it off to Hinkle. And Hinkle again runs it and gets about a 5-yard gain, and he's going to be stopped 3rd and goal on the 2.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Vikings go low on Hinkle. They've tried to go high, but he's just too big.
Lytle takes snap, hands it off to Hinkle, and Hinkle runs straight in, untouched, touchdown.
And right there, just basically the same play they scored on the last drive. Simple inside dive, enough of a hole, and Hinkle squeezes in for a 3-yard touchdown.
And on that drive, there were 52 rushing yards and 16 passing yards for a total of 68 yards, ending in a touchdown. Now, go ahead.
Really, if you look at it, the Vikings have that first drive, they started in really good field position, but Dekalb started in really ideal field position on both their possessions so far.
Yeah, both teams have started near 50 on both of those, so they have the kick up, and it is good. That was, again, Carter Newman on Dekalb. So it's going to be a 14-0 Dekalb lead with 2:42 remaining in the first quarter. And Huntington North is going to have to get back out there for their second drive and try to make something happen.
And if you're Coach Eschbach, you can't be panicking right now. You got to tell your guys, just relax, get us some points on the board. They're not out. 2 scores is not that hard to come back from, but you have to get some points on the board this drive, or at least chew the clock a little bit. Give your defense a little bit of a rest before they go back out there.
And we're getting ready to go with Huntington getting ready to take the special teams reception. And they've got their 11 guys out there ready to go. Toish is itching for the ball, so you can see he's kind of moving around a little bit. And I'm excited. we had a swib kick last time, and I want to see Toys get the ball because he can run and he can make things happen.
See, I don't think they go squib kick here. I think they try to kick it deep after that return kind of bit Dekalb last time that they kicked off.
And again, 2:42 remaining in the first quarter. Dekalb up by 14, getting ready to kick off to Huntington North. And kicking for Dekalb is 17, Brody Wilson. And they've got 6 guys on his right, 4 on his left, and Brody's up and going. And he, as you said, kicks it, and that is brought in by Toysh. And Toysh is going to take it, runs right up the center, and he finds a little hole, and he moves it all the way and gets stopped at the 35-yard line. And looks like they're going to mark him at the refs are kind of mixed up. One's at 37, one's at 35, but I think the 35 is where it's going.
And still really good field position for Wiley to start his second drive on. Offense looked all right the first time out. Maybe a little bit of jitters here on homecoming. So we'll see what Coach Eschbach, what adjustments he made going into the second drive.
Wiley's got 2 on his left, 2 tight ends on each side, and 1 halfback with him. Motions a slot over, takes the snap, and hands it off. And that'll be a loss of 1 as the ball was ran to the left and didn't go anywhere.
And Noah Wagner seeing some touches. He touches the ball for the first time tonight. And really, if that safety doesn't come up for Dekalb, Wagner probably breaks that for a big gain, as there was nobody within a 10-yard radius of him.
And Wiley again getting ready to go. And I find it interesting, both these teams don't do a huddle. They kind of do quick, take the call from coach, and then they kind of yell at each other and just get it out there. Wiley's getting ready to go. 1 on his left, 2 on his right, takes the snap, and Wiley rolls to the right, looking to throw, throws it to his tight end, and it is caught for a gain of about 6.
And I like the play call there. They roll Wiley out to his right, his strong side, and they throw it to his favorite target, Wagner, who has enough speed, and he gets 6. So now this is a 3rd and manageable here for the Vikings.
3rd and 5, 1:50 remaining in the first. Vikings down by 14. Wiley in shotgun, 2 on his left, 1 tight end on his right side, and he's getting ready to snap. And he's got Wagner right next to him. He motions Wagner out, takes a snap, and fakes throws it, and tosses it up, and he overthrows his receiver, and that's going to make it 4th and 5.
And Wiley had his man there. Tony Decker just couldn't get up and get that. A little bit of an overthrow, and now the Vikings are forced to punt it here deep in their own territory.
And 5 at the 40.
Yeah, so Vikings at the 40-yard line. That was a quick 3-and-out with only 6 passing yards and -1 rushing yards. So Vikings punting it from their 40-yard line, and Dekalb's going to get a chance to add to this score. And the ball is snapped, and it is up, nearly blocked. And looks like we had no fair catch, and it was caught and immediately tackled. Great work by Huntington North's punt defense.
That was really good punt coverage there. Good awareness to see that the returner didn't call for a fair catch. And it looks like Ian Wiley actually came up with the tackle there. The quarterback playing a little bit of special teams.
And that's always fun to see, as a guy gets to see a little bit more of the field than just behind the center.
Yeah.
So
gotta get him involved somehow, right?
So now we're having Dekalb come out, and they just look big compared to Huntington North. That is one thing that I have noticed so far. That line, just each guy looks like he's got 100 pounds on top of the Huntington North defensive line. So we have Lytle takes the snap, hands it off to Hinkle, and Hinkle's brought down for a -3 yard.
And as soon as that ball was snapped, we had a Viking in the backfield. Good push by that defensive line. And that's really the first time that Hinkle has been stopped all quarter.
All game so far, yeah. As Hinkle's really coming in, and he's really pushed it. So Huntington North kind of seeing that they're giving it off to Hinkle, or Lytle's running it himself. So Lytle's getting ready, takes a snap, fakes it to Hinkle, and tosses it up, and it is caught on the post route and that will be a gain of too many, probably a 23-yard pass.
Vikings playing zone there, and Dekalb capitalizes. When you're not playing man, it's a lot harder to really track down those post routes, especially if your safeties aren't that deep. So, good play call there by Dekalb, using that play action to get him to jump.
45 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Lytle takes the snap and throws same play, and it is incomplete. Different receiver this time, so it's going to be 2nd and 10.
And really, I don't blame him for going to the same play call. It worked once, so why not try it again? But it seems like this is a time where Hinkle's going to see the ball here on 2nd and 10.
And that was one where it almost looked like it was in his hands. It was just dropped. Lytle takes snap, and as you said, hands it off to Hinkle. Hinkle runs up the center, breaks one tackle, and gets a 12-yard gain. It's brought down on the Huntington North 40.
And really, Hinkle gets up to the second level untouched. Nice little ankle tackle there by Camden Landrum to really possibly save a touchdown.
Yeah, he already broke the one, and if he broke that second, he very well could have had daylight. And 25 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and it looks like Mike Eschbosch from Huntington North head coach is going to use his first timeout.
And you can't really blame Coach Eschbach for using a timeout. It kind of gives you guys a little bit of a breather, and it gives you as a coach time to really give your guys a little bit of a pep talk here. Because if you go down 3 scores early, it's going to be hard to come back from there.
Yeah, Huntington North has to find a way here to get this stop, and being on the 40-yard line, and they've already pushed it. They started on the 26, so they've gone so far in just this drive. They've gotten 68 yards. So, it's going to be. Excuse me, they've gotten. That was last drive. They got 68 yards. This drive, they've gotten 32. And timeout is coming to an end. What have you seen so far?
From Dekalb, I see that they are winning the battle of the trenches, and that's what's really been the difference in this game, is the fact that their offensive line has been able to just create holes for Hinkle, and Hinkle is not disappointed with those opportunities that he's gotten. That's really the biggest factor in this. I think if Dekalb's line isn't playing as well as they are right now, this game is a lot more interesting.
All right, Lytle's getting ready to go. He's got 2 on his left, 1 on his right, takes the snap, fakes it off to Hinkle, and tosses it up, and it is incomplete, intended for Xavier Bell. That's his 2nd drop pass in a row.
And really, Lytle's lucky that wasn't intercepted, because a linebacker was coming straight down. They were reading that the whole way. So now, I honestly think you just rely on your ground game here and go into the second quarter up 14.
2nd and 10, 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Lytle has 1 tight end with him and takes a snap and hands it off to Hinkle. And Hinkle was stopped immediately, but their lineman just pushed and pushed and pushed. Ended up getting a 7-yard gain.
And it's legal, so why not use it? I mean, the Barons are pushing Hinkle just basically, like you said, 7 to 8 yard gains. They've done that for most of the night. The Vikings have been able to wrap up on Hinkle, but altogether with those big boys just pushing you, it's a lot harder to stop them.
And that'll be the end of the first quarter. Vikings down 14-0. And as we get ready to go, it's been an interesting one, and Vikings really have to come in and get going on real soon. So,
and with that, we'll be back after a quick 30-second break. You're listening to 91.9 WVSH Viking Radio.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
It's been an interesting one so far. It's been a fun one so far. It's fun to be back.
Yeah, it is fun to be back.
Regardless of the score so far, 14-0, Vikings down. It's been fun as players getting ready to come back. And Ethan, this has been fun so far. what are you expecting from Dekalb right here?
I think they just go back to smash mouth, run the ball football. That's the thing that's been working for them all game so far. So basically, go to it until they stop it.
All right. And Lytle takes the snap, hands it off to Hinkle, or Lytle's going to take it himself and runs to the left side and gets a gain of about 7.
And right there, Vikings able to put pressure on Lytle, but Lytle just steps up in the pocket and takes it himself for a Dekalb first down.
And now we're having the changed it move. So again, first down, 25-yard line. Start of the second quarter, Vikings down by 14. Lytle and the Barons have the ball. They take the snap. Lytle's looking to the left, and he tosses it up to Bell, and Bell catches it, and that's going to be a touchdown for, that was Caden Pettis.
And Lytle with a perfect ball, really. Not much separation in between the corner and the wide receiver. He puts that right where it needs to be, and Dekalb goes up 3 scores early.
And for those of you listening, that was a corner post route. And, yeah, like you said, beautiful ball. You don't see that in high school too much. And, yeah, so we're getting ready to go as Huntington North's now down by 20. Extra points about to be played. And, it's Huntington North's just got to – their defense really has to grind Hinkle to a halt. I mean, you can face the passing game so far. Lytle hasn't been lights out passing, but Hinkle – on the other hand, has been the guy to stop.
Well, it's about a two-edged sword because when you do stop the run, then you have to deal with Lytle in the pass. And really, you just have to find a happy medium if you're the Vikings defense. But you need to get off the field and give your offense some opportunities to put some scores on the board. Otherwise, this game's going to get ugly.
And that will be on the 3 drives, 3 touchdowns for Dekalb. So they've been perfect so far with total yards of 234 yards so far.
And so now, Ian Wiley has another chance to lead his offense down the field. Let's see how his special teams does here to put them in field position.
And getting ready to go, we got Noah Wagner on the left, Jason Toish on the right to receive. And, it's on this, they've done so far. Huntington North's been great on special teams. That's one of the main positives we can take, as they've been able to pull it at least 20 yards each time. And we haven't seen great kickoffs for Dekalb Barons. So we're going to see what we're going to get right here. And Dekalb waiting for the referee to motion, and he gets the signal, kicks it up, and it's a little pooch kick, and it drops at the 30 and goes out of bounds, and we've got a flag on the play, which will be a kicking out of bounds.
So once again, the Vikings set up in good field position thanks to the penalty, and now it's just about capitalizing off that field position. You've been put in pretty good field position all day long. Your offense just needs to capitalize now.
And Huntington North here is getting ready for their 3rd drive. So far, the first drive ended with a turnover on downs, as they got a total of 1 first down in that first drive. Second drive was a punt that came after a 3-and-out. So only 1 first down for Huntington North so far, which is a struggle, but Ian Wiley's coming out. And so far, Ian Wiley did have that 13-yard pass to start the game out. And if we get another one of those, this could be interesting. Wiley's getting ready to go. 35-yard line. Huntington North down 21-0. 11:47 remaining in the second quarter. Wiley takes the snap, hands it off, and it is fumbled. And that is recovered by Dekalb, and that'll be Dekalb football.
And it just looked like some miscommunication there on the exchange, as Wiley tried to hand it to Moore, and Moore just fumbles the ball. So now Dekalb set up great in Huntington North territory.
That was difficult, as it was just dropped. It almost looked like the guy receiving the ball did not see the ball coming to him, like he didn't know the play.
No. And it looked like that play would have been blown up anyway, as there were a bunch of Dekalb defenders already in the backfield by the time that Wiley was handing that ball off.
Dekalb getting ready for their 4th drive, starting on the 31-yard line. So far, their first 3 drives have ended in a touchdown. So we're getting ready to go. As Lytle takes a snap, hands it off, and it is run to the left side, and he finds some room, and he gets, let's see if they call a touchdown, and they do. That's a touchdown for DeKalb, and that was Kohler with the touchdown. And that was the first time we haven't seen Hinkle back there, but Braden Kohler, my goodness, was fast.
And Kohler, really, once he hit that edge, he had a good line to the pylon, and he capitalized on it. Just a simple one-play drive there, partner.
Yeah, one play, one touchdown. Doesn't get better than that if you're a DeKalb fan. So in the second quarter, which has been 28 seconds so far, DeKalb has scored 2 touchdowns. That's going to be tough for Huntington North to come back from, as the extra point is about to be underway. That's a hard homecoming start, and extra point is good.
The extra point kicked by the Barons 18.
So now you are in a position. You were down 2 scores in the first quarter,
0.
and that's manageable. But now you have to score. This drive, you have to score. Basically, you're looking at 4-down territory. The whole field is 4th-down territory for you.
Yeah, Huntington North has to just gain some momentum. Looking at the players right now, just on the sideline, I really can't see much excitement, as shoulders are slumped, heads are down a little bit. So they're going to have to just light a fire in them real quick. That's what Eschball's got to have to do. That's the head coach's job right now, is get the players excited.
Well, you need a big play of some sort. A special teams return, a big play on offense, a turnover, something to get your team and really your crowd back into the game.
That is an excellent point, as big plays are the huge momentum shifts. Even when you're down by a lot, just having a 30-yard run or huge 25-yard pass, or a special teams that runs it and gets to the 50. I mean, that's always huge, and we're about to see the special teams go and get their opportunity. So the ball is pooched to the left side, and ball drops at 31, and it is picked up by DeKalb. Huntington North just looked at it. It was similar to, I think he was thinking it was a punt where he didn't have to touch it. He was required to, because the ball passed 10 yards, and that's going to be DeKalb football.
What I think happened there, Brant, was they thought the returner for Huntington North thought the ball was going to bounce and go out of bounds, but it just stuck there, kind of like a putt in golf. You think that it's just going to stick, and sometimes it rolls, and vice versa.
Right.
So now, DeKalb, really, the story of the game has been them capitalizing off of Huntington North just mistakes.
And DeKalb up by 28, 11-32, starting on the 31-yard line, takes a snap, hands it off to Hinkle, who's back in the backfield again, and he's going to get 5 yards on that run.
And Hinkle there, once again, just picking up 5. But do you think that Hinkle, after that rushing touchdown, told his coach, hey, maybe I should get a couple more touches here and see what I can do?
Put me in, coach. You've only had me in for every rushing play except the one that gets a touchdown, which Kohler was, that's a special guy to have back there. And he's still on the field as a receiver. And, if he gets the ball and he gets daylight, he's going to go. Hinkle is handed the ball immediately and gets a 2-yard gain, so that's going to be a 3rd and 2.
And honestly, if you're the Viking defensive coordinator, you have to consider just sending an all-out blitz here, knowing that DeKalb is most likely going to run this. But as an offensive coordinator for DeKalb, maybe you go play action on betting they send the sink.
You could potentially see that, as DeKalb has shown they can throw the ball, but they do prefer the run. So far, DeKalb has 84 passing yards compared to 171 rushing yards. And Lytle takes a snap, and he is brought down. So that's going to be a loss of 3. 4th and about 7 on the 27-yard line.
And it looked like they were going QB power there. So it was a QB run all the way. Stahl able to sniff that out. Good tackle. And now it's really the longest 4th down of the day for DeKalb. And this might be the big play that the Vikings need.
4th and 7. 10 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And Lytle takes the snap, fakes it to Hinkle, and throws it up. And it is caught by Bell. And Bell brings it down and drops the ball. It looks like they're calling it a catch and then down. So that'll be a completed pass.
And really, that's one of those bang-bang calls as an official that you just go with your gut, because it could have gone either way as a fumble or an incomplete pass or a complete pass. So, regardless, Barron's marching down the field.
Barron's take the snap. Lytle loses the ball, catches it, and he's going to bring it in himself, and that's going to be a touchdown. So on that, he muffed the ball was snapped to him, and he missed the snap, bounced in the air, he grabs it, runs it himself, and gets a touchdown right there for him.
And that's just the definition of you can't really do anything to stop that. I mean, that's just the definition of everything going your way.
And on that drive, there's a total yards of 33, and in that 9:28 remaining in the second quarter, so that would be so far in the last 2 minutes and 32 seconds, Dekalb has scored 3 touchdowns.
And that's really insane to think about. This was a 14-0 ball game going in the second quarter, and now you're looking at a possible 35 with a running clock.
And it is good. So we're going to have running clock. Is that for the rest of the game? Is that correct?
So for all you folks listening at home, and maybe some people new to high school football in Indiana, once you go up 35, or once you have a 35-point advantage over a team, you get a mercy rule, which is basically just a running clock. So the only way to really stop that clock is if you take a timeout.
Yep. So there's going to be required timeouts for the stoppage play, so we may have a very quick game.
Depending on if the Vikings can score here. But crazier things have happened.
And if the Huntington North would bring it into a certain point difference, the clock would go back to stoppage. Is that correct?
So anything below 35 takes it back to normal clock.
Okay.
So they could make it 35-7. It would be normal clock.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that. And Huntington North now having their return team out. Huntington North down by 35 with about 3 minutes into this second quarter. Has been a struggle of a homecoming night. Crowd's a little quiet, but you know, you can always, like you said earlier, big play can change that. And here we have with that pooch kick again that we've seen. Huntington North catches the ball and they take it and they get about an 8-yard gain. And there was a fumble and referees are motioning. It is Dekalb football. It is Dekalb football. Dekalb has had the ball 4 times now in this third quarter, or in the second quarter. Huntington North has had the ball once, and in that, they had a 1-play fumble. That has been the entirety of this second quarter.
Really, if you want to know the whole story of this game, it's just been one team making a lot of mistakes and the other team capitalizing off that team's mistakes. That is something that has bit the Vikings a lot this season, and so far, if you're a Barons fan, you got to be loving what you're seeing, but if you're Coach Eschbach, you are livid so far.
The Barons have had 5 drives, 5 touchdowns, and they get ready for their 6th with spectacular field position on the Vikings 38. And the snap was up to Lytle, and it looks like he fought with Hinkle for that ball. They both tried to get it. It's almost like the ball was meant to be snapped to Hinkle, and Lytle went for it, or vice versa. But the ball is brought down for a -2 loss.
Yeah, that looked like a broken play from the start. So now 2nd and 12 here for Dekalb, and it looks like they might open it up here.
And Lytle takes the snap, fakes it to Hinkle, throws it up, and it is caught. Diving catch for a 14-yard gain. I believe that was to Bell.
The pass is incomplete.
And they're actually going to rule this incomplete. So
I guess I need to fix my eyes as I could not see that. I need to look at the refs rather than the game sometimes when checking that.
That was just a bang-bang play there. And that time it goes in favor of the Vikings. So 3rd and 12 here.
40-yard line.
3rd and 12. Lytle takes the snap, fakes it to Hinkle, and tosses it to his left for a quick toss. And he is almost brought down. Knee does not touch and gets another 8 yards on that. So that'll be a gain of about 16 for the Barons.
And right there, they just go quick screen. And
made by the Vikings, 24,
it's just a simple simple out route / screen, and wide receiver able to make 16 yards out of basically 4.
First and 10.
And with that, there was a tackle by Wyatt Shear, who has returned as he's been out the last couple weeks. And we're glad to see him back. And Lytle takes snap, hands it off to Hinkle, and runs right up the center, which has been the play of the game. Hand the ball to Hinkle and let Hinkle do his thing.
And it seems to be working so far. I mean, I don't know how many yards they have on the ground, but the Vikings really haven't been able to stop that ground game of Dekalb. This has just been a complete, well-oiled machine for the Barons so far, and the Vikings seem to basically have no answer.
And Lytle takes snap, and he's going to run it himself, goes up the center for about 4 yards, and
21.
Again, they're just,
carrying the ball.
or excuse me, that was Hinkle. I mixed them up because both of them have the ball the whole time. It's either one of the two, and Hinkle's been taking a few snaps, too. They've been direct snapping to Hinkle a few times.
3rd and 2.
And so 3rd and 2 here, and I just expect the same thing.
Yeah, I expect to see Hinkle get the ball, and Lytle takes a snap, fakes it to Hinkle, actually, and tosses it to Bell, and then Bell catches it. Touchdown on the post route, and that is now 41-0, and we are 7 minutes remaining in the second quarter. So in the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, that has been 4 scores.
Well, partner, you asked me what the over-under was, 35 points or not. By the end of this game, we've got 41 in the second quarter.
I said my total was, what, 50-something?
50-something. So
okay. At this rate, it's not. You said 90. So
I said 90. Now
at this rate, Huntington was going to have to score because I don't see DeKalb getting 90.
No, I don't see it either.
But
there is a penalty on the
the 35 was. I was very wrong that I even asked that. That would have been that was a very poor one. So encroachment call against Huntington North, and that's just on the PAT, so they're going to get a 1 yard advantage. Looks like they're not even taking it. So the PAT is still getting ready to go. And, you know, it's been a struggling start, for sure. But what are the positives we can take away from Huntington North so far? What have you seen that I know it's hard sometimes, but what are some of the positives? One thing that I have seen has been the line on defense. While they're struggling with Hinkle, they still have 1 or 2 really good plays in a drive, so you can tell there's still a lot of effort being put in.
They're getting in the backfield. Now, are they making the tackle completely? Not really, but they're getting penetration. Special teams has kind of been a highlight next to the last 2 kickoffs, but up until then, they really are playing pretty decent, and honestly, the offense hasn't been on the field very much, so I don't really know what to make of the offense.
Yeah, Huntington North has had a total of 3 drives so far compared to 6 drives for DeKalb. And one of those drives of Huntington North was a first play fumble, and the other one was a 3-and-out. So they've had 1 first down so far in this game. Just to let you all know, again, 7 minutes, 17 seconds remaining in the first half. 42-0 DeKalb lead as they're getting ready to kick off.
And the Vikings here are going to need a score at least for a little bit of a morale boost. And hopefully the Vikings can keep the ball in their possession.
And it looks like that's going to be Wagner takes it. And Wagner's brought down hard on that at the 18. And we have a flag thrown after the play right by where Wagner was done. So most of the time that's going to be words are spoken, would be my assumption.
Most likely an unsportsmanlike conduct or unnecessary roughness.
And looks like just that. And it was against DeKalb. It was against DeKalb only. One thing I've noticed for high school refs is very commonly when there is a unsportsmanlike conduct flag, it goes against both teams, and I find it very frustrating. So I like seeing that they actually called it against one team. While this does help Huntington North, it makes me happy with this being WVSH. Regardless, it's good to see.
The 34-yard line. First and 10 for the Vikings.
I mean, really, if anything, you're just trying to get in. You're just trying to get in the end zone at this point. You have nothing to lose, so you're just trying to chew as much clock as you can and try to get into halftime with the score here.
7 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Wiley takes the snap and hands it off, and that is a gain of 6
Carrying the ball
for Huntington North.
28, Luke Toysh.
That would be Luke Toysh with the run.
And Toysh had a little bit of turf toe coming in, so he must be feeling good because he's got some carries tonight, and he's looked decent on those carries. Really, the offensive line of Huntington, when they are on the field, has been able to create some running lanes for these backs.
And so far, Luke Toysh has a total of 134 rushing yards on the year, so he's doing well, and he's one of the favorites taking the ball. Huntington North does take the snap there, and that would be a 1-yard run.
28, Luke Toysh.
That was Luke Toysh again.
Gabe Gillespie. It's a 41-yard line.
So we're going to have a third down and 3. 6 minutes remaining in the first half. And looked like a little bit of switch here as Huntington North's C.J. Jameson, or Huntington, well, number 4 for Huntington North, who's not listed on our roster, comes in. Huntington North hands it off, and Toysh gets a 5-yard gain. So that will be Huntington North's second first down of the game.
Rushing the ball for the
And
Vikings,
that's really crazy to think about, that the Vikings have only had the ball 4 times and have had 2 first downs total. But now the Vikings can really set their tempo and get their offense going here.
And first and 10 as Wiley takes snap, hands it off to Toysh again, and Toysh is stumbling down for no gain. It looked like he had a shot there, but he was tripped right at the end.
Toysh tried to bounce it outside. If he doesn't trip up there, he probably gets at least a gain of 5. Sometimes that turf monster just gets you.
At second and 10 here, 5:21 remaining in this first half. Huntington North down by 42. Wiley's taking the snap and bunched offense together. 3 on the left now, and no guys on the right. Takes snap. Wiley does a draw play and gets 2 yards out of it as he goes right up the center.
Interesting play call there by Mike Eschbach. It gets you some breathing room, but now you kind of have to take a shot. But you are in 4-down territory, being down 42.
A 2-yard gain to the 48-yard
What I'm almost
line.
expecting here, and going through Eschbach's head, is get out of this half, get out of this half, get out of this half.
Yeah, I mean, you have to basically play to get into halftime, get your guys fired up, make some adjustments.
Wiley takes snap, rolls to the right, and just throws it. He was pressured immediately, tosses it out of bounds. Ball goes nowhere, so it's going to be 4th and 8 now. Yeah, so they're going to be forced upon it as the punt team does come out.
Incomplete.
And I'm going to be honest. I am surprised that they are punting the ball, considering they are down this much. Like you said, there is a possibility that Coach Eschbach just wants to get into halftime here. He's not really worried about the score.
Yeah, I think he just wants to get away and figure out, or really just put Dekalb in the worst field position as they possibly can. Great punt as it goes. Oh, just too much. That bunt rolled and rolled and rolled into the end zone, so it's going to be a touchback. It almost looked like it was going to go out of bounds within 5.
Just a little too much mustard on that roll. But on the other hand, it did kind of look like it was going to go out at the 1, maybe 2-yard line. Still a great boot there by Toysh. And now the Vikings defense, they get a little bit of a breather after 3 straight possessions on the field.
Yeah, so with the ball starting on the 20, 4:17 remaining in the first half, Dekalb, again letting you know, Dekalb is up by 42 as Hinkle's getting ready to take the field again. And with that, it looks like they're having a little bit different offense as they're bringing the tight ends in a little more. And Hinkle takes snap, hands it off, Lytle takes snap, hands it off to Hinkle, and he is brought down for a loss of 5.
And that was a big hit that Hinkle took there. Middle linebacker just takes a gap and hits him, stuffs him right in the backfield. So that's one of the first great defensive plays that the Vikings have had all night. Let's see if they can build some momentum off that.
Yeah, it looked like Hinkle got hit as soon as he touched the ball, and Lytle gave it to him immediately. So, yeah, and there were 3 guys back there. And it happens again as Huntington North, another loss of 5 on that.
And that was Aiden Kalhoff, the defensive end back there, basically as quick as you can get. He was untouched, unblocked, and all of a sudden, Dekalb is backed up for 3rd and 20.
And if you're thinking it's because Dekalb being up by 42, you might be thinking, well, that must be their B team. That is the same line that's been there the whole game for Dekalb. So it's not like they put in their JV or their second strings. That's just Huntington North getting up there. Another blitz, and pass is thrown, and Lytle gets a 16-yard pass, but that's still not enough.
And really, I think, so one thing I've noticed is Eschbach is now bringing his middle linebackers on a blitz, so it's bringing an extra man for pressure. And that's really hard for a high school offensive line to pick up on. And the Vikings are going to force a punt here.
Yeah, so first time that Dekalb has not scored a touchdown in a drive, and the punt is up and way out of bounds. That's not that very good of a punt. That was maybe a 30-yard punt, and it looks like they're going to call it at the 50 on the dot.
So 2:51 here left in the half. This is when, as a coach, you're saying, get me some points or at least get me a good drive to go into halftime with something positive. Our defense got to stop. You guys on offense have to capitalize on being probably at your best field position of the day.
That's just it. It's even if you don't score, find something positive in this drive. Do something, gain some momentum. 2:51 in this first quarter, in this first half. And I will note, I believe the running clock starts in the second half. I did not realize that. I've looked at the clock a few times, and it's not running. And Wiley takes a snap, throws it, and it is caught. And we got a Huntington North gain of about 13. That was caught by Huntington North's Tony Decker.
And Huntington calling up a little tunnel screen. So you're going to let the whole entire defensive line into the backfield, and Wiley just needs to get rid of that ball quick. If he doesn't get rid of the ball quick, well, then that's a negative. Then that's a negative play. But good urgency there by Wiley to find Decker, and the Vikings have a first down.
And now Wiley, 2 on his right, 2 on his left, takes a snap. Looks left, tosses it to the center, and it is caught. Beautiful play, and Huntington North's going to run it in. Touchdown!
The pass from 17 to 19,
Wagner there with his first receiving touchdown of the season. And all of a sudden, Vikings on the board, and this will now be a 42-6 ball game. Beautiful execution there by Wiley as Wagner's running a little seam route to split the safeties, puts the ball in the perfect spot, and finally gets the Vikings on the board.
Yeah, first score for the Vikings. And, yeah, that was beautiful. 52 plays, 50 yards passing, touchdown. That was real good by Wagner with that 38-yard. And he ran a post right through the center, catches it, and he had daylight to go.
It's just a deep seam route, and that they were playing cover 2, so that's 2 deep safeties with 3 zone coverage linebackers. And Wagner's fast enough that he could split those safeties, and that was a perfect time throw there by Wiley to hit his man in stride, and then Wagner just took it to the house.
And that's exactly what we needed. Like we were just talking, get a big play to get the crowd going, to get the boys excited to be on the line. You can see right now just heads are coming up. Everyone's standing a little bit taller, and boys are patting each other on the head. They're hitting each other around. They're getting more excited. You guys over there trying to hype each other up. That's what you need right now. You need to just be excited to be out there. That's the number one thing you need right now. You need that momentum.
Absolutely. And don't be shocked here if Huntington goes onside kick. Dekalb's playing it like a normal return, so possibly a little ambush tactic here.
And Huntington North's getting ready to go as whistles are blown and the kick is up, and it looks like It's a little pooch kick, and it is caught and brought down at the 38-yard line. Look like they're going to spot him. So field position has been pretty standard. Anytime between 30 and 40 has been what we've seen most of the night. We've seen a few starting at the 50, excluding some of the fumbles and all that.
But you have to feel pretty good after that last defensive drive, really, because they were in the backfield really quick. So let's see if they bring those same blitz packages, bringing their middle linebacker up to the line of scrimmage here.
And Lytle takes the snap, and it is thrown and caught. That will be Bell right there, and he's going to get a gain of about 9.
And Lytle brings that. He just puts that right where Bell can get it, and only Bell can get it. If that pass falls incomplete, it falls incomplete. But Huntington North had a linebacker roaming and just couldn't get there.
Lytle takes the snap, rolls to his left, and throws it cross-body, and it is caught. I think that was again to Bell, and that's going to be a gain of about 6 for a first down.
And right there, same play, just motioning to the other side. Lytle had a little pressure coming off the edge, but good throw there, and now they're in Viking territory.
1st and 10, 1:30 remaining in this first quarter. Dekalb up 42-7. Lytle takes a snap, and he is brought down, and that is a fumble. And what you want to explain what happened on that?
So basically, they were going to that same exact quick screen play that they've been running all day, and James Linker just, Lytle just got blown up in the backfield. It was called a lateral, which is basically a fumble at that point. Vikings didn't look like they realized it, but they at least got a tackle for loss there, and now it's 2nd and 16.
Lytle takes the snap and tossed it way left, deep pass to Bell, and it is caught. Wow, 3 Heights North defenders. Bell catches it. That was huge.
That was an impressive throw. He was throwing off his back foot on the run into triple coverage and really just put that ball right in the bucket. Couldn't have thrown it any better.
Yeah, beautiful pass. I mean, he slung that 44-yard pass there.
So now you're looking at 1st and goal here with about 40 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, so they're really going to try to punch it in right here. 40 seconds remaining, as you said, in the first half. And Lytle takes the snap. He rolls to the left side, and he finds some room, and he goes in, and that's going to be are they calling it? Are the hands up? Looks like it. Touchdown for the Barons.
And right there, they just go QB power again. Lytle finds that pylon. Just really good running behind his line, and Dekalb strikes again.
And that will be on 8 drives total, 7 touchdowns for the Barons. And 20 seconds remaining in the first half. Barons up 48, potentially 49 right here to 7. Heights North's going to have to find something, especially their last drive. They got a huge touchdown, 50 yards, 2 plays. They're going to have to do something like that again and just try to build off that momentum that they have.
You really have to, like you said, I could just see them kneeling it here and going into halftime. But you have to come out because they get the kick back after halftime.
Heights North will receive.
Yeah, you have to come out and you have to build momentum here. At least give you guys a little bit of a positive play to try to keep their morale boosted.
So if you're Eschbach, you're saying you just sling it up rather than kneel it?
I think you kneel it and go into halftime.
You kneel it to go into halftime.
I think that's what you do at this point. You make your adjustments.
I'm on the same wavelength as you on that. While slinging it up works sometimes, most of the time it doesn't, and a lot of times it ends in issues. Now, the last drive they had that 38-yard pass, which was nice, but
it's just
you can't expect that to happen all the
24
time.
seconds left and not 2 minutes. That's really the biggest thing is you could just take a knee after this kickoff return, depending on if this goes long or not.
I presume they're not trying to just kick it long. They don't. They're really not trying to do that. Fumble! And looks like it might be recovered by Dekalb. It is Dekalb football. That is the 3rd special teams the third special teams turnover. There was two fumbles, and then technically onside kick that went about 30 yards that they thought Heinz North thought was potentially going out of bounds, but they didn't touch.
And really, special teams, while that has shown some promise during this game, has also come back to bite the Vikings because some of these possessions have been started in their territory, and they're not really giving the Vikings offense any time or any momentum to get on offense.
It looks like we're going to see a knee right here. And, yeah, that's going to be going into halftime. Not the best half that Heinz North wants to see. I'm not pleased so far as a Heinz North fan. I mean, it's hard to be. Heinz North down 49-7 as the horn goes right there, and that is halftime.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, we will be back after this break. If you are listening on WVSH, we'll be right back for the first half recap. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll be bringing you the Marching Vikes. You are listening to Huntington North Radio Viking Football, 91.9 WVSH, brought to you by Memphis State Bank and Nove Corporation.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you. I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
All right, and after that break, we are back here on Viking Radio. They're doing the homecoming court, king and queen ceremony. So, Brant, first time back in the booth here for a little while, and what have you seen from the Vikings so far?
You know, I've seen the main thing has been special teams have just been the kryptonite of this Huntington North team. I think we have three special teams turnovers. The first one came on a fumble. The first one was a kick that was kicked to about the 25-yard line, and the Huntington North guy kind of watched it. We're unsure if he thought the rule was similar to a punt, where if the kicking team touches it, it's just down, or if he thought it was going to go out of bounds and tried to get the penalty. But regardless, he did not jump on the ball, and Dekalb was able to jump on, take it. There's been two other fumbles that gone with that. And when Huntington North gives up three drives right there, plus there was another drive where there was a fumble on the first play. So really 4 drives straight that didn't exist.
And really, to touch on your special teams point, the Vikings offense hasn't been on the field very much. That time of possession has to be in huge favor of Dekalb. I don't exactly know what that looks like, but
I don't have the time of possession, but I do have Huntington North has had 5 drives, right? And Dekalb has had 8 drives versus 5 drives, and one of those 5 drives was one play fumble. The first one was a turnover on downs, so that had one first down that started the game off, and then there was a punt after 3 and out, fumble on the first play, a punt after 1 first down. And then we had the touchdown pass that was their last drive. I am excluding the drive where they, with 10 seconds left, where they kneeled it. I don't think that's necessary to count. But
technically doesn't count. But, I mean, one thing you have to look at from a positive standpoint is Vikings offense has been able to move the ball when they are on the field.
Yeah, they have been able to move it quite a bit. The other thing would be the defensive line has been out there doing their thing. And they're going to announce the homecoming real quick.
Is Gracie Fields.
Looks like Gracie Fields is the homecoming queen. I missed who the king was, but it's a football player, and he's got number 9 on, so we can check. Rhett Holzinger.
Yeah, Noah Wagner ends up winning homecoming king along with Gracie Fields. Congratulations to those two.
That is Noah Wagner. It was 19. His little sash just covering his the 1.
Yeah.
So you must know. Do you know him by the face, or?
No, I just heard it over the PA.
Oh, okay. I don't listen well. Gotcha. My parents have been saying that for years, so makes sense. So Gracie Fields.
I can see it. It's right there. They are under the direction of Michael Pettick and Alex Walters, drum majors Cadence Reed and Morgan Garner. Their show is The Triangle.
The names sound familiar. I want to say you are a true Viking fan.
Yeah.
Because especially me being a 2020 grad. So if you were listening in 2019, 2020, well, it wasn't really 2020. I guess, yeah, that was COVID year,
Yeah.
but I was trying to figure out the timeline. So we still had football. I mean, if you heard me before, you've been listening for a while.
You're a diehard. I just graduated in 2023, so you've probably heard me. If you've got a kid that's a senior, a grandkid, or a friend, or basically any relation, or if you know anybody, or if you've just been a long-time Viking fan, you've probably heard both of us. We've called a couple games together before. So, but anyway, Brandon, as we look at the score here, I mean, granted, the Vikings not exactly looking the best, but at the same time, I mean, what have you seen from Dekalb that just, I don't know, has kind of surprised you or you've been a fan of?
Dekalb, there's been one name to know, and that would be Hinkle. Hinkle. The other would be Lytle, the quarterback, who's been exceptional. But Hinkle, my goodness, came into this game prior with 357 rushing yards. Today, Dekalb has over 175 rushing yards on the day. So, now some of that's mixed with Lytle, so I'd say he's already gotten about 100 yards, though. So, he's kind of near 500 rushing yards on the season at the end of this game. So, Hinkle's just been the guy. So, essentially what they're doing is every play is either Lytle takes the snap, he's either handed off to Hinkle runs up the center and gets too many yards, or Lytle is going to do a draw play and run it, generally get about 6 yards, or Lytle's going to do a play action, fake it off to Hinkle, and then toss it up to Xavier Bell, who has been the target of the day. Him and Pettis both have been targets, and they're just big passes, big plays. And essentially the name of the game has been big plays have been happening like crazy for Dekalb, but then they're not making major mistakes. There's been no fumbles for them. The only possession that didn't end in a touchdown was a punt that was a struggle because they had two straight Huntington North defense lit a fire in them and two straight tackles for -5 losses, two straight sacks really, and then a 16-yard pass that ended in a punt after that. So, you know, they've just been good, and they've done their fundamentals well. They're tackling Huntington North well. They're running, and their line is holding their ground 99% of the time.
And just to circle back to that quick point about Hinkle, Caden Hinkle is a junior at Dekalb High School. He's 6'4", 225.
In other words, he's huge. You know, he's a bulldog. And Hinkle, being Hinkle Fieldhouse from Butler, just more of a bulldog to me. But
yeah, well, the Vikings defensive line has been able to get in the backfield. It's just the fact that he keeps running through 2 or 3 tackles. I mean, when you're 6'4", almost 230, you can afford to do that with that big of a frame.
Oh, he's breaking tackles like none other. And they also had Pettis come in for a big play earlier. Or no, it was Kohler who came in and got a huge rush of 29 yards for a touchdown in a one-play drive and Kohler's only touched the ball once. But when he did it, that dude kicked it into gear immediately. He went from 0 to 60 like that.
And like you mentioned, Dekalb has just been playing real fundamental football, and they've been capitalizing off mistakes. They've had a lot of things go their way, a lot of turnovers go their way. The Vikings have just completely been on the other side of that. They've got some really bad breaks. Their offense hasn't really been on the field. They haven't been able to establish a tempo because of that. And their defense in that first half just really looked tired because they were out there for 8 drives. And 4 of them were, if I'm not mistaken, in a row.
Yeah, it's been a difficult one so far with that. And we've got 3 minutes remaining in this halftime, excuse me. Players are out. They're getting their stretches done. And I think we're going to go to a quick break right before half, and then we'll come back and we'll start up, and we'll bring you the second half of Huntington North football.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you're with us, please continue to do so as we have an exciting second half coming your way. For WVSH Viking Radio, I'm Ethan Doctor, and we'll see you in a quick sec.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league! Ugh! I love this guy! What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
And we're back as the players run out on the field, and they're going to end the halftime a little bit short. That can happen. So in halftime rules, they run it down. They have the 15 minutes. Generally, it's 12, but they extended it for the homecoming. And then they do an extra 3 minutes beyond that. If both teams are ready, they play, but that extra 3 minutes is just a little buffer if they want to stretch or do anything like that.
Yeah. And so now Dekalb kicks the ball off, kind of a pooch kick. And
picked up by Toish on the 20, and he's going to try to run it and gets about 8 yards there. So they're going to start on about the 26.
But once again, very fortunate that a Dekalb player didn't pounce on that ball because that was a roller again, and a lot of miscues have happened on special teams. So now you get to see a fresh offense kind of just come out, get their legs stretched. But at this point, you're tightening some stuff up, and I don't want to say the game's necessarily over, but 49-7. You're kind of just getting your guys reps at this point and just looking forward to Leo next week.
For sure. And Wiley's coming out, and we got homecoming king in the slot, inside slot position, Noah Wagner on the left side. We actually got trips left, single guy on the right. And Wiley takes the snap and throws it to Wagner, and he gets a run of pass of about 7 yards. Or it looks like they're going to do that, an 8-yard pass.
So right there, Vikings just going quick little bubble screen that gives time for blocks to set up for Wagner, and nice little 7-yard chunk play there. But altogether, I mean, you're practicing some plays here. I mean, you always want to be competitive, but it will be interesting to see what Coach Eschbach draws up here.
All right, Wagner alone in the backfield, 3 on his left, 3 on his right, 2 on his left. Takes snap, and he tries to do a draw play, and that's going to be a loss of 2 yards. That'll officially go in as a sack. And that's going to be Huntington North now for the 3rd and 4.
And right there, draw play going nowhere, loss of 2. And 3rd and 4 for the Vikings. So I wouldn't be surprised maybe if they roll Wiley out a little bit, try to get a little short completion in the flat to Chipchowski, and just see what he can do.
We have seen him take the ball and roll it to the right, and he takes it, immediately slings it right for a bubble screen, and that's going to be a 4-yard gain. It's going to be right next to the first down marker. We're going to see if they mark it. I think they are moving it. Yep, that's going to be a first down for Huntington North.
And Wagner able to make one guy miss and barely gets to the chains, but it moves them for Huntington North. And now the Vikings here in a little slower tempo than what we saw in the first half.
And I am expecting that to be similar as they're just trying to make some plays here. down by 42 with 9:30 in the first, and a huge deep pass, and it is intercepted. And they're still running, going to the right side. He's at the 30, the 25, and taken down at the 24-yard line on the Huntington North side now for defense, or Huntington North side, and they're taking over on the defensive side. So that would be Wiley's 7th interception of the year.
7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And really, that play, it was there. The deep post was there. Wiley just didn't put enough gas on that throw, and that linebacker was able to pick it off for a nice return. And Dekalb once again starting in Viking territory.
Yeah, he did need to throw it about 5 yards higher, I would say.
Yeah.
As they had that dual safety back there, and there was one safety was really covering it. The corner was covering, and then the other safety came over. I don't think Wiley saw him, and he was able to jump right in front and grab it.
Well, Decker had a nice little step on him too, so if Wiley throws that ball just a little bit higher, we're looking at a big chunk play.
Lytle takes the snap, hands it off to Hinkle, and Hinkle, like the bulldog he is, moves it, and that's going to be an 8-yard gain.
And Hinkle just makes a quick jump cut, hits the hole, and gets 8 yards. Tony Decker comes up and lays a hit from his safety position again. And really, I wouldn't be surprised if Dekalb just runs the ball for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I would not be surprised also. And Hinkle is brought down. That's going to be a loss of 3 now. And with this being an alumni broadcast, I do want to ask you, Ethan, what are you doing lately?
I've been at college, man. Higher education, trying to get my degree in sports management. I'm a freshman this year, so, I mean, you know.
What college is that?
Grace College.
That's at Grace College Sports Management. Okay. Yeah. I recently graduated from Purdue Fort Wayne for accounting.
Yeah.
So those are what your alumni are doing right now. Hinkle gets a 2-yard loss right there, so it's going to be 4th and 8. And now we're just getting ready to go, and it looks like you may have a field goal here.
I think they're going to go field goal.
22-yard line field goal, so that's going to be a 39-yard field goal.
Bold strategy, Brant. Let's see if it pays off.
You know, so far he's had 7 PATs, and they've all been in. So,
I mean, he looked good from warm-ups when we were watching.
Yeah, we were watching warm-ups. You said, what, a 35-40?
35-40 yard.
It's up, and it's close, and it's just short. I think he needed another 1.5 yards, and he would have had it.
Yeah, maybe 2. But still, that's pretty impressive because that ball traveled about 35, 37.
Yeah, if they would have been lined up about 3 yards closer, so I think he would have been, with that kick, he would have made a 36 rather than a 39.
Yeah, but who can really blame Dekalb there for trying it?
Oh, I'd take that attempt.
I mean, I'd try it.
Especially if he's that close, you know, you get that adrenaline going, there's a solid chance it goes in, and I'm sure he's put that in before in practice and maybe in other games, so not that surprising. And they're up by 42, so you can risk missing a field goal.
Yeah.
And with that, this is Mike Eschball's first season, correct?
Yes, correct.
And with that, Mike Eschball, he's had 1 win so far. He's 1-2 in conference, 1-4 overall. That conference win last week was to Belmont. It was 13-12 was the total score. Huntington North win.
Yeah.
And you saw that game, so what do you want to tell us about that game?
The Belmont game last week was a gutsy win. It was a rough win, but it was still a win. Vikings played tough on defense. Offense had a little slow time getting up to speed, but altogether pretty impressive.
There was a false start called there, and so Huntington North started 1st and 15. Wiley takes the snap, and it looks like he's going to be moved back a yard. So now it's going to be 2nd and 16.
But altogether, I think you have to feel comfortable if you're a Vikings fan with the future of your program. They were the record they're at right now doesn't necessarily show how competitive they've been through the year. They had a tough opener at Eastbrook, lose by 3 points, and then, I mean, they've been in some games. Record doesn't show really how good you are here, and they just ran into a tough Dekalb team tonight.
And Huntington North gets a pass, and there is some open lane And that'll be a Huntington North pass of, what was that? I'd say 20-some yards?
20-something yards.
And beautiful. That was one of the bigger passes of the night. Glad to see that.
Oh, it's just that simple tunnel screen. So you're getting your offensive line and your tight end out in front of your wide receiver. And really, if that play gets together like we just saw, it goes for big yardage.
And 1st and 10, Vikings down by 42. Wiley takes a snap and bubble screen, and they get some room. And Wiley is, they're moving. Huntington North is going. Is that Toysh?
That's like Cameron Moore.
That's Cameron Moore. Cameron Moore with the touchdown. 66-yard pass. Bubble screen touchdown. That's wonderful. That's what we want to see. That's how Huntington North gets rolling, and that's just going to bring some momentum.
As a play caller, you like the execution on the play. Blocks were crisp. As soon as Moore got up to the second level, he was basically gone. Breakaway speed from that young man. Good touchdown for the Vikings.
And Huntington North's going to get a chance right here to put their PAT up. And it is no good. It looks like it was to the left. So it's going to be 13-49. So a 36-point lead for the Barons. And for those of you that don't know what a bubble screen, essentially what happens is they had trips on the left side, so 3 receivers out there. And one of the receivers cuts back as soon as the play goes, takes 3 steps back, and the other 2 receivers next to him start blocking all the corners. Generally, there's about 2 corners there. Unless they're playing man-to-man, they'll be 3-on-3, but you're not calling a bubble screen if it's man-to-man. You're calling it in the zone defense, which is what Dekalb was showing. And you start blocking, so then generally there's about 2 guys coming, 2 blockers, and you have potential room. And you have to wait for all the linebackers to come in or the safety to come in. And in that, Huntington North was able to get the guns rolling and go down the field before the safety was able to get them.
And really, just like you said, DeKalb's playing zone coverage. And I mean, I don't blame him for playing zone at this point in the game. Kind of just letting Huntington North chink away at you. But a big hitter like that, that's a big play that really the Vikings needed, but it might be a little too little, too late.
And so far, Huntington's had 167 passing yards and 7 rushing yards.
And it looked like Jason Toyce just missed the ball off the tee.
He missed the ball and kind of tapped it, and it only went 5 yards. So that will be down at the 40. He just missed it, so the ball is just down. I've never seen that.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen that.
So, yeah, it's going to be DeKalb ball starting at 40.
So there's another play I've checked off my football bucket list, I guess.
There has been quite a few in my time announced. I announced for 2 years. You did for 3.
Yeah.
There were a lot of cool plays. What was some of the coolest? I can't even think. I've seen the kick returns and I've seen the punt returns. I've watched a lineman get an interception, get a pick 6. That was the coolest. I watched a lineman who, it was like a 250, 300-pound line. It was a big boy. And he got a touchdown pick 6. And that actually, there was a video of it, and it went on ESPN. It was so cool that I was able to see an ESPN top 10 play.
Yeah, that's awesome. My favorite play broadcasting was probably, I remember, nice.
2-yard loss right there on that run.
And it looks like they're just going to take Hinkle possibly out of the game here and just let him rest up for next week. But craziest play I ever saw, we were at Columbia City, and it was Coach Prescott's first or second year, and Aiden Dennis was the tailback, and he was running completely to the right side of the field, changes direction, does like a spin, and just takes it completely left side of the field wide open. That's probably the craziest play that I've ever called.
Incomplete pass there, so DeKalb's likely going to come out with a punt team. And yeah, they're sitting on the Huntington North 44. So yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of fun doing this over my tenure. It's been a heck of a ride.
Yeah. So when I got the text last night to come back and fill in, I mean, how could you turn that down?
Yeah. Well, I got the text also, and I'm like, I get free chicken wings.
Yeah, I know, right?
I get free chicken wings, and I get to try the brownies that Scott Bauer makes. Which, if you ever get a chance to try them, while they are a sin because they're so good, yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
I've had 2 of the peanut butter ones.
Yeah,
peanut butter chocolate ones.
Yeah, 2. I don't know. I came back for the right game though. Just from the hospitality standpoint, and it's been real fun to do it. When I heard that you were coming along to call the game, that was a bonus because, well, I hadn't seen you since we called that sectional game my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So a while back, and it's been a good night. It's been a fun night. Weather's great. Crowd's good. Real good Friday night for some football.
Yeah, it's been good catching up. Huntington North about to take the snap here. Wiley's got 2 on his left, 1 on his right. Tight end also on the left, so 2 plus 1. Takes snap, hands it off, and that's going to be a run of about 9, or I think they're going to mark that as a first down. So that was a 10-yard run for C.J. Jamison.
The ball for the Vikings, number 3, knocked out of bounds by Dekalb's.
And that was a pretty good run. He bounced it outside, and I
think we're seeing both teams as the third quarter's coming to an end. Clock's running down right now. We're going to end the third. 49-13 DeKalb lead. And we saw a little bit there of what's to come, which is going to be the second stringers are coming in. We're just going to get
third string.
We're going to get extra reps going for everyone, and especially homecoming. It's kind of cool to get out there and get under the lights of the bigger crowd.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have seen some of the crowd leave, but most have stayed.
Yeah.
And just looking down at the crowd now, I still see very few leaving.
Yeah. Well, I will say one thing. These fans have been involved all night, regardless of the score or not. Student section they've been having a good time, as everybody can see. And, really, it's a good environment. And I think there's a lot of excitement around this program right now, with Coach Eschbach being in his first year and them being very competitive in games that they probably should have won. But I think that you have to be pretty comfortable.
And Wiley's getting ready to go to start off fourth quarter. Again, Vikings down by 36 right now. And they take the snap, and they're going to bring it for a 2-yard gain.
And this is just smart coaching here by both teams, as you don't want your starters out there when you're down 36. So get these younger guys, these freshmen, sophomores, or juniors that aren't exactly getting a lot of playing time. Get them out there, have them kind of get some reps, and kind of just look forward into next week.
And with that, Huntington North getting ready to take the snap. I believe that's Landon Kaler at quarterback. And Kaler takes snap, looks to his right, does a little bubble screen, and it goes nowhere. So that'll be a negative 2-yard pass.
And that was sniffed out by that corner completely. He saw that coming right away. So with that, I wouldn't be surprised if they open it up, maybe take a shot downfield. It looks like Dekalb's just going to play a soft zone here with 1 deep safety.
And Landon Kaler again in the shotgun formation, 2 on his left, 1 on his right. Get ready to go. Takes the snap and looks to his left, tosses it up in the air, and batted down by Dekalb. And that's going to be an incomplete pass.
And so now you're probably going to see the punt team here.
Yeah, it looks like the punt team is coming out. And 10 minutes to go in the game. Vikings down 49-13.
So at this point, I'm pretty sure the only person that may not get a rest here is actually the punter, as I don't think you have a backup punter.
Yeah, the punter's going to be out here doing his thing. And the punt is up. And
Good kick.
Beautiful punt, actually. And that's going to roll and roll and roll, and it's stopping at the 13. So kicking from the 25 on the Heights North side to the Dekalb 13.
Yeah, that was a real good kick. He about had one pinned down at the 1 or 2 yard line. If it would have just slowed down earlier in the game, it would have been down at the 1 yard line. And that's Luke Toish back there. So man of many traits, as he's been a big running back and apparently the punter tonight.
And Heights North getting ready to go. And with that, with Mike Eschbaugh as the new head coach, one thing that's really cool for him is it's a brand new stadium.
Yeah.
Brand new stadium for a brand new coach. And that's got to be fun. That's got to be a highlight. I was talking to a guy the other day about the locker rooms. They said it's like almost like a small college locker room. It's so cool. Like there's a huge table for the coaches to go around, like a huge conference room table. They've got a big room for the players where on the right, on one side, they've got a defensive side, then they've got an offensive side. So they can watch film at the same time. So they can really dive into everything they're doing. Dekalb gets a pass there for about 16 yards, give or take. 13 yards, there we go.
Yeah. But to go on that point about the new stadium, that's definitely been a highlight, not only to the football players, but to the community. It's been a real good investment, in my opinion. And really, it looks sharp as you're driving down Highway 9. Or down US 24, sorry. You can look out, you can see the field lit up on Friday nights, or just in general, this is a great sports complex that really was needed.
Yeah, with the prior field being across the street, I know there was always a fear that with all the crossing the street, and parking was always an issue, as everyone parked over by Papa John's and Goodies. I'm not sure if Goodies is still there. It was like the old J.C. Penney lot.
Yeah.
We've got Goodwill there. I can't think of everything there. But, yeah, so in that whole areas where they used to park, and now they can all park at the Heights North parking lot, which is nice because it's a lot bigger. And DeKalb's going to take a run and get about 8 yards, and that was 3rd and 7, a gain of about 8, and that's going to be a first down for DeKalb. DeKalb again up 49-13, 7 minutes remaining in the game. Heights North really just trying to get in here, get some reps for the younger guys, and get out of here.
That's important. I mean, that's very important. It gives these guys kind of, a confidence boost and all this other stuff. And, you're kind of just looking forward to next week from a varsity standpoint if you're one of these players.
And looks like DeKalb gets a 14-yard gain. Right now they have Will Weber as their quarterback, who's their backup. He's taken over. Hinkle's out, Weber's out, or Weber's in, Lytle's out. Hinkle is out. We haven't seen him anymore. I doubt we'll see him again. Looks like the line has gotten a little smaller. It's still got a big offensive line with their second stringers. So that'll be interesting with when the JV plays them later this week. I believe they play them tomorrow or Monday, one of the two. But
Monday, sometime next week.
Yes, and that's gonna be a difficult one. So I have seen the Heights North lines, and the Heights North JV line has actually been really stellar this year from everything I've seen.
I think you have to be excited with the guys coming up in the system. Building a program takes time. It takes everybody buying in. Not everything's going to turn, it's not going to turn into like this big powerhouse program overnight.
Well, I was at the JV game last Monday, and Huntington North won 46-0 to Belmont. And one thing I will note, Belmont had the smallest JV team I've ever seen. They had 15 total players. There were 4 guys in for subbing. And Heights North did not have a lot of guys either. But regardless, they won by 46. They won pretty handedly. and they were able to control the line. So that'll be interesting to see. Weber takes the snap. He's rolling to his left, looks for the pass, and completes it.
This is going to be coming back. I think there's a hold over here on the right side. But, yeah, I think once again you have to feel comfortable with the direction that Coach Eschbach is putting this program in.
5 minutes remaining in the game. Heinz North down by 36 on the homecoming night.
The penalty is
as we saw, it was Gracie Fields that got homecoming queen, and King was Huntington North's football player, Weber, I believe, or who was it? It's Noah Wagner. Noah Wagner.
You ever make homecoming court?
I was on the court.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. I did not win. I did not win, and I was okay with that. One of my best friends, Ricky Foster, who was a football player, he won. We were both standing next to each other, and it was kind of, I think we didn't care. It was just have fun. We're out there, and Ricky Foster won, and Grace Diamond was the queen. I know I walked in court. I remember. I'll try to remember all the names. It was myself. I walked up with Claire Ludlow. The other girls, I think Kendall Coles, maybe Ashley Dorsett were in it. Ashley Dorsett is the cheerleading coach, actually, now.
Nice.
So some of my class is still here representing. Woo. And then from the boys, there was myself, Ricky Foster, I believe Nate Burns, and the last one was Nick. What's his last name? Nick.
We'll go with Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun group though. We all were joking prior. I know Graham Shear. I announced the game too, so I announced and I had to run down for halftime to do my court thing.
Yeah.
And I remember Graham Shear was running it. He was my color commentator while I was play-by-play, and he was like, "What am I supposed to do for halftime?" Like he had to just do it on his own, and he ended up announcing the entire halftime on his own. Then I came back, and he's like, glad it was fun though, and we were glad we got to do it.
Yeah. Well, I made the court also last year, so yeah.
Did you win?
No, football player.
Yeah,
so
it's always
the football players, but
which it makes sense. They do it on football
well,
night.
Yeah, I mean,
frankly, here's how I view it, and it's whoever's in the biggest club wins because you have a lot of guaranteed votes. Say you're in the Varsity Singers, you have every single varsity, like say you're a varsity singer girl, every single varsity singer person's going to be voting for you, and that's like 50, 60 kids. If you're in football, every football player's voting for you. That's why. Well, I don't know Wagner, but I presume he's a great kid. But that probably helped being on the football team. I know Ricky Foster, when he won, it helped that he was on the football team because you have a lot of guaranteed votes, and it makes it interesting. So Landon Kaler takes a snap, hands it off, runs to the right side, and we have a little bit of daylight brought down after a gain of 10. And that was Cruz Kindler with that run. And Cruz is fast. I've heard a lot of good things about him coming up, and we'll probably see a lot more of him next year.
Yeah.
And he's going to be an interesting one to watch. Landon Kaler is able to sling the ball pretty well, and Heinz North's line looks pretty good for their JV, which is what we're watching right now. And they've got some talent out there that I'm looking forward to watching in the next couple of years.
I think you definitely have to, because first year under a new coach is usually rough, so you kind of have to look on to year 2 at this point. Even though the Vikings have a pretty tough schedule going ahead. They have Leo. They're hosting Leo next week during their fall break, and then they are going to Ossian to go play Norwell. Norwell lost a lot, so that will be a very competitive game over there in the courtyard. And then they host New Haven to end the regular season and just wait on a sectional draw at that point.
And Norwell will be one to watch next week also as they're taking on Dekalb. So we're going to be able to you'll get a good insight on how that game will go in 2 weeks for Heinz North and Norwell by watching next week's Norwell Dekalb, just to base them off of how they do against Dekalb versus how Heinz North. There's 15 seconds remaining in the game. The clock is ticking down. Looks like we won't have any more plays. Huntington North, final score is going to be 49 Dekalb, 13 Huntington North. So difficult one for Huntington North, but yeah, they're going to have to bounce back, and that's football. That's life. That's sports. I mean, especially high school sports. You're going to have bad games.
Yeah.
And it's how you come back and bounce back is really the big question. So we'll see how Huntington North does against Leo next week.
Just a lot of unfortunate plays that didn't go the Vikings' way. A lot of special teams miscues. Just like you said, a rough game, and you'll run into those every once in a while. I mean, football's a sport for a reason. You never know the desired outcome. So with that, we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with your post-game show right after this. Stay tuned. You're listening to Viking Radio 91.9. And see you on the other side, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
And we are back, and we're getting ready for your post-game show. It was a struggle of a night. Huntington North ended up losing 49-13, so difficult one for the Vikings. The story of the game was turnovers. And what did you see so far? What did you see that you can take away as a positive for Huntington North?
As a positive, their offense, when they were on the field, moved the ball pretty well. Improvement from last week is they seemed to get a lot of chinks out of the armor offensively. Defensively, they held up all right for how much they were on the field during that first half. Really, what it comes down to is there were a couple plays that just didn't go the Vikings' way, and that will happen. And it just came back to really bite them, to be honest.
Yeah, the hardest part was that second quarter where there was 21 points scored in the first 2 minutes. And then 2 minutes later, another touchdown was scored by Dekalb. So that was just killer as the Barons really just dug in at, like just kept digging, making that hole deeper and deeper and deeper for the Vikings to crawl out of.
Well,
after the first quarter, it was only 14-0.
Down 14, that's no reason to panic at all. You know, you can chop that down to a slow start, but a lot of special teams miscues tonight really just bit the Vikings because Dekalb only started on the 20 once. I mean, special teams turned the ball over about 3 times tonight.
Yeah.
So really, like you said, they scored 21 in 2 minutes, all in pretty good field position. So short drives for Dekalb. And Huntington never really got on the field until later in that second quarter.
Well, there are 5 total turnovers for Huntington. 3 of them came on special teams. The other was an interception and a fumble on the first play of a drive that immediately ended in a one-play touchdown by the Barons, making it difficult for Huntington North. But I'm looking forward to next week. Huntington North, you know, they came off a win on this. Now they're coming off a loss. And just like life, it's going to be how can you bounce back? How can you come in? And I know this Leo team is going to be good, but Huntington North's going to have to find a little chink in the armor for Leo and really just try to take away some of the positives from this week and just work on the little things, work on wrapping up for tackles and work on snapping the ball a little more and work on special teams, just work on that, making sure you can figure out the best way to hang on to the ball. And there were a lot of guys here that we saw. The main returners never touched the ball for special teams. It was all the guys in front, as there were a lot of pooch ticks. So I think we may see those guys in practice may get the ball a little more, work on handling it a little more, because they're not used to it. It's the guys that don't touch the ball as much, that they were the ones making some of those fumbles and those mistakes, because I presume they didn't have enough practice on that. So I assume Eschball is going to jump in and get to work on that, and we'll see next week with Leo.
Yeah, really, you just go back to fundamentals, tackling, ball security, all that, and really, I mean, it's on to Leo at this point. It doesn't really matter what happened tonight. You look at what you got to fix and work on it during the week. You got fall break coming up here, so basically just focus on football, and hopefully you come out swinging against Leo.
Another positive for Heights North is we did get to see the JV come in, and they looked solid as they were to hold the Barons to 49. They didn't score any extra. I think they had 3 times where they forced them to punt, and that was good. Some of the notable guys we saw out there was Landon Kaler at quarterback was doing well. Cruz got a very good 16-yard reception. Will Grayless did not mess up any snaps at center. And, yeah, they were looking pretty solid on the JV, so that's something to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, I think for sure you have to feel comfortable with how the JV performed and how your future varsity players are looking going into possibly next year and how they could contribute if an injury, hopefully that doesn't happen, but if an injury were to happen to one of your key players on offense or defense.
So every guy says, next guy up.
Yeah, next guy up mentality, basically. So basically, you're hoping that nothing happens, but you've got that next guy up mentality. You go into practice next week and you fix your weaknesses, and you hope to win another ball game next week. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that is going to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of Huntington North Viking football. Again, the Vikings fall to Dekalb by a score of 49-13. This is Ethan Doctor for Viking Radio alongside Brant Young, and we will talk to you next Friday.
Thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of Huntington North Vikings football on Viking Radio 91.9 WVSH. Before we go, we'd like to thank the following sponsors one more time for making tonight's broadcast possible.
Bailey Love Mortuary, Bippus State Bank, Courtney Martz, Independent Farm Bureau Insurance Agent, First Federal Savings Bank, Nove, and Z-Place Pizza.
Be sure to tune in all season long for the hard-hitting action of Huntington North Vikings football on your Huntington North Sports Authority, Viking Radio, 91.9 WVSH.